A very good morning to all the students of class 6. Dear student, I am Vijeta, your assistant teacher. Dear student, today we will study the first chapter of social science named as History and Introduction. So, dear student, we will study this chapter from the book Our Land, Our World. So, dear student, let's begin with the chapter History and Introduction. Dear student, very first you should know what are the learning objectives of this chapter. So, dear student, let's discuss the learning objectives of the chapter. So, basically, in this chapter, we will study about importance of history, and secondly, we will study the sources of history. So, dear student, let's begin with the chapter. Dear student, as you can see in my screen, this is the first chapter, and this book is help you to understand the chapter more clearly. Very first, these are some significant terms which you will see in this chapter. Let's discuss these significant terms. So, the first important term is secular literature. As you can see in my screen. So, what is secular literature? Dear student, secular literature means the literature which is concerned with worldly subjects or other than religion and philosophy. Which is a secular literature which is concerned with worldly subjects other than religion and philosophy. That is called secular literature. The second important term is monument. Dear student, what is monument? So, old buildings which are excavated or standing. The monuments are old buildings which are excavated or standing. That is called monument. The third one is manuscript. So, what is manuscript? Handwriting accounts called manuscript, which is which is handwritten is called manuscript. So, the next important term is inscription. What is inscription? The writing engraved on stones, rocks, metals, and pillars. What is inscriptions? That is writing engraved on stones, rocks, metals, and pillars are called inscriptions. What is archaeological evidences? Dear student, that is again ancient remains of building, potteries, tools, remains, seals, tablets, and coins are called archaeological evidences. जो पुराने टाइम की बिल्डिंग है, पत्थर है, इमेज है, टैबलेट्स है, कॉइन्स है, उन्हें क्या बोलते हैं? आर्कियोलॉजिकल एविडेंसेस बोलते हैं. Artifacts. What is artifacts? Works of art which are produced by human skill. That is called artifacts. What is artifacts? Work of art which are produced by human skills is called artifacts. What is microliths? Microliths is small stone tools is called microliths. Microliths is small stone tools that is called microliths. So these are significant terms. Let's discuss the chapter. So, dear student, this is my screen. So, in the beginning of the chapter, we will understand what is basically history. History क्या होती है? तो आइए इसे हम समझें कि history होती क्या है. So, dear student, let's discuss geographical framework of India. What is the geographical framework of India? So, dear student, let's understand it. The environment greatly influences the actions of a man. It signifies external factors or conditions which include its location, climate, natural and vegetation. These conditions influence the course of our political, economic, social and cultural history. Therefore, the history of India cannot be understood without a careful study of its physical features. So, India is divided into four parts. So, India is divided four distinct geographical regions as we have already discussed in our previous class. The first one is the Himalayan region. The second one is the Great Northern Plains. The third one is the Peninsular Plateau, and the fourth one is the coastal plains. So these are the four geographical regions of India. Dear student, the mighty Himalayas form a formidable wall in the north, and having a strong and powerful defense against invasion from the north until the Chinese aggression in 1962. A student, unfortunately, there are a few passes in the northwest which have offered an easy access to the present Streep, Kushan, Scythians, Sakas, Turks, Taratars, Mongols invaded India and stabilized their kingdom in India. So, the great northern plains of the Indus, Ganga, and Brahmaputra have been the principal theatre of Indian history. So, it was in the valley of the Indus that are the earliest civilization. So, that is the Harappan flourished. The Vedic civilization prospered in the Indo-Gangetic Valley. The great region, that is Hindus, Jainism and Buddhism were evolved here. So the region witnessed to the rise of many kingdoms in the India. So the first empire, the Mughal Empire, rose in this region only. The economic prosperity region has always allowed the invader. So basically, these all are depends on the geographical framework of India. So the Deccan Plateau laying south of the Vindhya range and so far from the south remained unaffected by the political upheavals of the north, as dense forests and hills made communication difficult and opposed barriers to the invaders from the north. In southern India, therefore, remained isolated and thereby developed a cultural of its own, which is known as Dravidian culture. So, dear student, this is very important that you should know what is the Dravidian culture. So, as I have already underlined it, what is Dravidian culture? So, dear student, the fertile coastal plains with an easy access to the sea have facilitated the growth of several kingdoms, maritime trade, flourishing city and port. The kingdom of this region traded and maintained cultural contact with Java, Sumatra, Brahma, Siam, and Indochina. It is to be noted that the high range of the Himalayas and densely forested hills of central and south India that have been the abode of several tribes who being driven away by the invaders took refuge in those secluded areas. For many centuries, these tribes living in isolation have maintained their distinct identity and have preserved their culture. So, these are for fertile coastal plains. So, dear student, let's move ahead with the sources of history. So, dear student, let's understand sources of history. Dear student, history sources enables us to reconstruct our past history. There are two major types of historical sources. So, dear student, this is very important as I am highlighting it. What are the two major types of historical resources? So, these are archaeological sources and literary sources. So these are sources of history. Very first, let's understand what are the archaeological sources. So let's understand this. The first one is archaeological sources, is which you can see in my screen. In historic times, the art of writing was not developed. As such, there are no recorded or no written records or document of that period. It depends on archaeological evidences of that time, which include remains of monuments, coins, tablets, seals, pottery, tools, drawing, figurines, images that were used by ancient people. तो बच्चों प्री हिस्ट्री टाइम में आपके कोई रिटन डॉक्यूमेंट तो थे ही नहीं, तो हम किस पे डिपेंड थे अपने पास्ट को जानने के लिए? आर्कियोलॉजिकल अपने कंट्री के मॉन्यूमेंट्स में, कॉइन्स में एंड बहुत और सारी चीजों में डिपेंड थे. Very first, let's understand what is archaeology. So, as you can see in my screen, what is archaeology? So, it is the study of remains of the past. Basically, archaeological remains are those objects, I'm repeating it again, archaeological remains are those objects and structures which were discovered after digging out a site. किसी भी साइट को खोद के निकाले गए, ऑब्जेक्ट्स निकाले गए, चीजें निकाली गई. The archaeologist, on the basis of such objects, unveils the mysteries of the past. उसके बाद आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट ने क्या किया? उन चीजों को देख के, उन अवशेषों को देख के हमारे पास्ट के बारे में हमें बताया. Our knowledge of Indus Valley civilization is mostly based on such archaeological remains. तो जो हमारी इंडस वैली की सभ्यता है वो मोस्टली आर्कियोलॉजिकल रिमेन्स पे ही डिपेंड करती है. जो आर्कियोलॉजिकली हमें चीजें मिली उन्हीं पर ये जो सभ्यता है इंडस वैली की वो आधारित है. So let's understand the monuments. What are the monuments? So basically monuments are historical buildings. What are the monuments? Basically monuments are historical buildings, whether in ruins or in form of sanding. Tell us a lot about the life of the people in ancient times. The excavation site at Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and Hastinapur give us a glimpse of life in the past. So, जो खुदाई से हमें हड़प्पा सभ्यता के बारे में, मोहनजोदड़ो, हस्तिनापुर के बारे में पता चला, वो हमें पास्ट की कुछ लाइफ से परिचित कराते हैं. The remain of the Nalanda and Vikramashila University, the Grand Stupa of Sanchi, and the Ashoka pillars and the Raths of Mahabalipuram unveil our glorious path. So, सांची स्तूप, अशोका पिलर्स, महाबलीपुरम के रथ, ये सारे हमें हमारे ग्लोरियस पास्ट के बारे में बताते हैं. सो these are some monuments of our past. Let's understand inscription and edicts. So what is inscriptions? Dear student, this is very important that you should know what are the inscriptions. So the writing engraved on rocks, stones, pillar, metal, plates, clay tablets are called inscriptions. जो पत्थरों में, पिलर्स में जो एक खुदाई होती थी, एक लिखते थे खुदाई के थ्रू, उसे आप क्या बोलते हैं? इंस्क्रिप्शंस बोलते हैं. What are the edicts? An edict is a royal command engraved on stones, pillars. Several edicts of the Emperor Ashoka give us a lot of information about his achievements and his socio-economic life of the people of his time. तो जो राजा था अशोक, उसकी लाइफ के बारे में बहुत सारे एडिक्ट्स ऐसे हैं जो हमें उसकी लाइफ की, सोशल इकोनॉमिक लाइफ और उसके अचीवमेंट्स के बारे में बताते हैं. सिमिलरली, हाथी गुम्फा इंस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ कावेला एंड द जुनागढ़ रॉक ऑफ इंस्क्रिप्शन of Rudradaman provides authentic information of those times. तो उसी टाइम का वैसे ही हाथीगुम्बा इंस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ कावेल एंड जुनागढ़ रॉक इंस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ रुद्रदमन, इसके बारे में उसी टाइम की कुछ ऑथेंटिक इंफॉर्मेशन हमें देते हैं. सो बेसिकली these are writing engraved on rocks, stones, pillars and in the metals. So let's understand what is coin. So dear student, as you can see in my screen, these are the example of inscription and edicts. As you can see in my screen, this is the pictorial part of inscriptions and edicts. Let's understand what is coins. So, dear student, numismatics is the study of coin, which is very important question. What is numismatics? Which is the study of coins. It throws a great deal of light on the ancient times. Coins made different methods provide us information on the development of science and technology. The language engraved on them reveals the exact period to which the coin belongs. तो जो खुदाई कॉइन्स में थी वो हमें एग्जैक्ट पीरियड बताते हैं कि वो कॉइन्स किस समय बने हुए थे. The picture engraved on them throws the light on art, culture, society, religion, economy and administration of the period. तो जो कॉइन में पिक्चर्स थी वो हमें क्या बताते हैं? आर्ट, कल्चर, society, religion, economy and administration of that period. The coins of Kushan and Gupta rulers throw a great deal of light on the religion and administration of those rulers. So this is all about the coins. Let's understand artifacts. What are the artifacts? So what is artifact? Artifact or works of art include culture and paintings. So basically, art includes sculpture, sculptures and paintings. These help us in reconstructing the cultural life of the ancient time. तो आर्टिफैक्ट्स के थ्रू हम क्या देखते हैं कि हमारे पास के लोगों की कल्चरल लाइफ क्या थी. The specimens found at Takshila belonging to the period of Kanishkas throw light on Gandhar art and religious belief of the Kushan texts. The image and paintings in the Ellora caves reveals the exquisiteness of contemporary sculpture of Gupta's period. The painting and repose at Ajanta, Ellora, and other places reveals the contemporary society, economy, and art of the period. So, this is all about artifacts. So, let's understand. So, let's understand the quick bites. What is epigraphy? What is epigraphy? This is a very important question that you should know. The study of inscriptions. Inscriptions is called epigraphy. What is philology? The philology is the study of language in which documents are preserved. It's called philology. So let's understand the literary sources of history. So these are the, let's understand. So the second one is literary sources. The Indian were indifferent to writing history, although they richly contributed to all branches of literature. So, documents of history are preserved in our religious as well as secular literature. Thousands, uh, thousands of years ago, when there was no paper to write on, our ancestors wrote on dry भोज पत्रास. जब कागज नहीं था तो हमारे पूर्वज किस में लिखते थे? भोज पत्रास पत्र में लिखते थे, which is the bark of trees, plates of copper. Earlier, the art of printing too was unknown. Our ancestors therefore wrote their accounts by hand. Such handwritten accounts are called manuscripts. तो ऐसे handwritten documents को क्या बोला गया? Manuscripts बोला गया. Literary sources include two types of literature. Number one, religious. Number two, secular literature. So, dear student, let's understand the religious literature. What is religious literature? So, very first, what is the religious literature? Dear student, as I am highlighting it because it is very important part of this chapter. The religious or sacred literature of India includes the Brahmanical literature, Buddhist and Jain sacred texts and epics. So, dear student, the Rig Veda is the oldest work among the Brahmanical literature. It elucidates the religious and social and economic life of early Aryans. The later Vedas and Samhitas provides enough information on the social and religious life of the people of Gupta period. तो कुछ समय के बाद गुप्ता पीरियड की जानकारी हमें किससे मिली? स्मृति, I'm so sorry, the Vedas and Samhitas provide information on the life of post-Vedic आर्यंस, पोस्ट वैदिक आर्यंस की जानकारी हमें किससे मिली? इनफ इंफॉर्मेशन हमें कहाँ से मिली? वेद और संहिता से मिली. The Smritis composed mainly during the Gupta's period, which elucidate the social and religious life of the people of Gupta period. As you all know, the epics Ramayana and the Mahabharata are the most important written by Maharshi Valmiki and Maharshi Vedyas respectively. So again, this is very important question. Who wrote Ramayana? So the answer is Maharshi Valmiki wrote Ramayana, and who wrote Mahabharata? Maharshi Vedyas wrote Mahabharata. Both epics have a great religious importance for the Hindus. आप सबको पता है रामायण और महाभारत की हमारे हिंदू धर्म में कितनी मान्यता है. So among Buddhist literature are Tripitas are the oldest. They contain the religious views of Buddha, rules of Buddhism and Buddhist philosophy. तो त्रिपिटक्स जो थे, जो उनका लिटरेचर था, उसमें बुद्धिज्म की लाइफ के बारे में, उनकी लाइफ के रूल्स के बारे में एक्सप्लेन किया गया है. The Jataks are the stories of the lives of Buddha in early birth. The Mahavansh and the Vansh of Sri Lanka also throw a great deal of light on the ancient history of India. So, the Milan Pano present a philosophy of dialogue between Menander, the Greek kings, and Nagasena, the Buddhist monk. So, these are some religious literatures of our country. The Angas of Jain also elucidate the contemporary society and the political and economic condition of those days. So, these are some religious literature which explain us our old time or our old religious literature. So, this is all about religious literature. Let's understand the next one. So, dear student, let's discuss secular literature. Dear student, I am sharing my Word document with you to understand some grammar work of social literature. As you can see in my screen, there are some grammar work of secular literature. So, dear student, Ashtadhyayi, which is written by Panini, which contains historical information of the period. Number 2, Mahabhashya, which is written by Patanjali, which contains again historical information of that period. Mudra Rakshas, which is written by Vishakadar. Again, this is the information regarding modern period. So, or events of modern period. The next one is Katha Sarit Sagar, which is written by Somdev, which is also explanation of some events of modern period. Brihit Kathamjari, which is written by Shemendra, which is again some explains us some events of Maurya period. Adsas, which is written by Kautilya, is the grammar work which explain political and statecraft during the Mauryan period. This is very important. Nitisar, which is written by Kamandar, which explain political system of Guptas. As you can see in my screen, same as some other grammar work which explain us the grammar work of secular literature, which is Malvikagrimitram, which is written by Kalidas, which explains history of Sunga dynasty. Mrichukatik, which is written by Sudraka, which is contemporary society. Same as Harshcharitra, which is written by Banbhatta, narrates achievement of Harshvardhan. So there are many other grammatical words which explain us about secular literature. Dandik, which is written by Kalabagam, which is written by Nandik, which explain achievements of Pallab kings. So there are some very important grammatical work of secular literature. So, dear student, this is all for the secular literature. Let's discuss next one. So, dear student, let's discuss foreigners' accounts. A great deal of our knowledge of ancient Indian history comes from foreign travelers' accounts. Herodotus, the Greek historian, mentioned about India in his history. But the most valuable contribution were made by foreigners who came to India, like Megasthenes, the Greek ambassador who lived in the court of geography of India. By Ptolemy about 133 130 AD, and the preplus of the Aryan Sea by an unknown Greek author are important work of India. Chinese travel. Some Chinese travel also recorded valuable accounts of contemporary India, like Fayan, Hensang, and Ifin. Muslim scholar like Al-Bruni gave a vivid account of literature, religion, and social institutions of India by their famous book Talqit-e-Hind. So, the Vietnamese traveler Marco Polo has left a very interesting account of social manners and customs of South India. So, dear student, this is all about foreigners account. So, dear student, this is very important chapter. We will study the second chapter of social science in our next class. Thank you. This is all about history and introduction.